How to hand sew a mask. Download the PDF pattern and supply list on talentmakercity.org. After cutting your fabric to size, place the pattern sides together and mark a 1-inch space where you'll start and stop your sewing. Place the elastic on the corners diagonally and pin them in place. Pin the middle of the fabric to hold the two pieces together. Because we are hand stitching, I recommend marking a 1/4 inch seam allowance as a guide for straight stitches. To do this, use your measuring tape to mark all across the mask a 1/4 inch from the edge, skipping over your 1-inch spacer. You'll stitch directly on this marked line. Start back stitching at your marked 1-inch opening. When you come to a corner, reinforce the elastic by essentially going over the same stitch twice. Be sure to space your stitches no more than 1/8 inch apart for a secure hold. As you sew, remember to rethread your needle before your working thread becomes too short. To do so, double knot through the last stitch you made by threading underneath that stitch without poking through the fabric. As you pull that loop closed, go through it and tighten. Do that 2 times and cut. A quick way to make a new knot in your working thread is by placing the end of the thread on the eye of the needle, wrap around the shaft of the needle 2 times, pinch that wrap between your fingers and pull it down the length of the working thread. The wrap will tighten to form a knot at the end of your working thread. Continue backstitching where you left off until you come to the 1-inch opening where you started. Knot and cut your thread to end that stitch. The next step is to flip your mask right side out at the 1-inch opening, using your fingertips to pull the corners through. From here, we will press and pin the pleats. Now is a good time to heat up your iron if you haven't already done so. And don't worry about the 1-inch opening as we will pleat and stitch it closed. First, press the entire mask to flatten the seams. Mark the halfway point on the elastic sides of the mask. This will be your first pleat. Press and pin in place. To create your next 2 pleats on the top and bottom, gather the fabric about 1 inch from the middle pleat. Press and pin all 3 in the same direction. For the last step, we'll be using a blanket stitch to secure the pleats in place. Mark a line at 1/8 inch from the edge on both sides. This will be the length of your stitches. To start the blanket stitch, poke through the fold of the top pleat to hide your knot coming up through the fabric at the marked line to form your first stitch. Try to keep your stitches as close as possible, and take your time on this step, as the pleats can be difficult to stitch through. When you come to the last pleat, end your stitch by double knotting between the fold of the bottom pleat to conceal it. Repeat this blanket stitch on the opposite side. Your mask is ready. Thank you for supporting our healthcare heroes and staying home to save lives.